This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, July 29th, 35 years ago, as of this taping, in 1988, the Boston Red Sox were in a pennant chase with the Blue Jays and a few other teams. So the Red Sox decided to make a move and take star Baltimore pitcher Mike Boddicker in a trade for Brady Anderson and Curt Schilling. And you'll be thinking to yourself, hold on, Curt Schilling was a Boston Red Sox before he was a Boston Red Sox? Now, of course, the true sportsman knows that Schilling was a Boston Red Sox that was picked up at the after the 2003 winter meetings by the Red Sox to complement the pitching staff of Pedro Martinez and a few other people. But what people forget was that Curt Schilling was actually a Boston prospect. And all that. So let's go through the three principles. Well, first was Brady Anderson. Everyone knows about Brady Anderson. If you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, you know about his 50 home runs in 1996, being one of the best leadoff hitters in Orioles history. All that. And a lot of people questioned Brady's move because he was an average hitter. I think his best was like 20 plus home runs in one season, and then he goes to hit 50. People thought he was juiced. I mean, after all, dude more than doubled his career best output in 1996, and he was basically there. It helped that Baltimore did pretty well. All that. So yeah, he was a second round pick by the Red Sox in 1986. So yeah, he would be in the Red Sox minor league affiliates, and then played for the Double-A New Britain Red Sox before being traded with Brady Anderson to Baltimore for Mike Boddicker. His MLB debut was against the Red Sox, ironically enough, at Memorial Stadium, September 1988, and he won. But he lost 3 straight after that. And then, of course, he was part of one of the most lopsided trades in Orioles history, as they shipped him off to Houston alongside Steve Finley and Pete Harnich for Glenn Davis, because Baltimore wanted a good slugging first baseman. The only problem was Glenn Davis fizzled in Baltimore, and it was found out that Davis was more of a home run hitter away from the Astrodome and all that. Meanwhile, Steve Finley became very good. Well, he was super, for like the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. And Pete Harnich wasn't that bad either. Houston and Cincy, he was a decent pitcher. So yeah, so Schilling would move on to do other things. Go to Houston for a little bit. Then to Philly, where he had an 8-year run, including being in the 93 World Series against the Blue Jays. And supposedly always putting a towel over his head when Mitch Williams entered games. Then he went to Arizona, and then after free agency, he went to Boston and ended his career in 2007. Brady Anderson, was okay and all that. It was just weird and all that. So yeah, people question him because it's like, what was his best home run total? Like 20? Brady would play with Baltimore from 1988 to 2001, and then 2002 he went to Cleveland, which was shocking. But, Brady Anderson was a pretty decent player. But what about the last piece? The big piece Boston did to outbid Minnesota and Oakland to land Boddicker. Well, Baltimore, he was good with Baltimore. His rookie season in 1983, he won 16 games with 5 shutouts. And got a World Series ring because the Orioles beat the Phils in 5. And then he won 20 games in 1984, leading the AL and wins an ERA. Sadly, though, he would lose the Cy Young voting to Willie Hernandez, a closer. Boddicker actually Started out terribly, 0-8 in '88. Well, this was the 1988 Orioles that lost the first 21 games of the season. No joke. Boddicker put up a 6-4 mark in his last 13 games with the Orioles, and then the Red Sox just had to have him because they were chasing the AL East and got rid of Brady Anderson and Curt Schilling. Boddicker was 7-3 down the stretch, having Boston win the AL East. But it wouldn't be a rental move. He would play 2 more years with the Red Sox, 15-11 in 1989, and then put up 17 wins in 1990, winning a key game on the final day of the 1990 season as Boston needed to beat the White Sox in hopes to win the AL East. If the Red Sox lost and the Jays won, it would have been a 1-game playoff between the Red Sox and Jays. But, of course, Bernansky with that sliding catch in right field, that's still debated. Blue Jays lost in the 9th inning in that game anyway. And then he signed a couple years with Kansas City and went downhill from there. But it all worked out. Boston got their guy for the stretch run. And the good news is that, they kept him for a few more years. Unlike a certain Larry Anderson. But yeah, the trade worked out for Baltimore. I mean, they got a leadoff hitter that was pure of heart in Brady Anderson. And they got Curt Schilling, but they didn't use Schilling that much. And he was dealt to Houston, where he kind of went nanners and all that before going to Philadelphia, Arizona, and Boston. So, who won the trade? In the short term, Boston. In the long term, Baltimore. You can believe that. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond, a dude.